Welcome to Storytime with Jonathan. Tonight, I love to share one of my favorite stories, Acres of Diamonds by Earl Nightingale. So, the story of Acre of Diamonds is told of an African farmer who heard of tales about other farmers who made millions by discovering diamond mines. These tales so excited the farmer that he could hardly wait to sell his farm and go prospecting for diamonds himself. He sold the farm and spent the rest of his life wandering the African continent, searching unsuccessfully for the gleaming gems that brought such high prices on the markets of the world. Finally, worn out and in a fit of despair, he threw himself into a river and drowned. Meanwhile, the man who bought his farm happened to be crossing the small stream on the property one day, when suddenly there was a bright flash of blue and red light from the stream at the bottom. He bent down and picked up a stone. It was a good-sized stone, and, admiring it, he brought it home and put it in his fireplace mantel as an interesting curiosity. Several weeks later, a visitor packed up the stone, looked closely at it, hefted it in his hand, and nearly fainted. He asked the farmer if he knew what he found. When the farmer said no, that he thought it was a piece of crystal, the visitor told him that he had found one of the largest diamonds ever discovered. The farmer had trouble believing that. He told the man that his creek was full of such stones, not all as large as the one on the mantel, but sprinkled generously throughout the creek bottom. The farm the first farmer had sold so that he might find a diamond mine turned out to be one of the most productive diamond mines on the entire African continent. The first farmer he owned free and clear acres of diamonds. But he had sold them for practically nothing in order to look for them somewhere else. The moral is clear. If the first farmer had only taken the time to study and prepare himself to learn what diamonds look like in their rough state, and to thoroughly explore the property he had before looking elsewhere, all of his wildest dreams would have come true. The thing about the story that has so profoundly affected millions of people is the idea that each of us is, at this very moment, standing in the middle of our own acres of diamonds. If we only had the wisdom and the patience to intelligently and effectively explore the work in which we're now engaged, to explore ourselves, we would most likely find the riches we seek, whether they be financial or intangible or both. Before you go running off to what you think are greener pastures, make sure your own is not just a green or perhaps even greener. It has been said that if the guy's pasture appears to be greener than ours, it's quite possible that it's getting better care. Besides, while you're looking at other pastures, other people are looking at yours. I really love this story because there's a cover of a book, Transforming Self. It's an NLP book. Let me see if maybe I can find a book. There it is. Transforming. If you look at the book Transforming Yourself by Steve Andreas, on the cover of the book is, imagine this man who from the waist up is fit and from the waist down is rock. And he's there with a nail and an anvil carving himself out of the rock. And I think that imagery just matches perfectly with like what this story is about. Like, we all have diamonds in the rough. We're all diamonds in the rough. But through our own practicing of our craft, through the discipline of showing up, and then the muse of creativity and inspiration and spontaneity and new ideas blesses us with an idea that has never been around, like, and then we get to share that, like, so that's what's all personal development is all about, is just trying to become the best version of yourself, trying to always be growing. And I think that this is just such a beautiful story that it's like running your own race. Like, take your time, develop yourself, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and know that it takes time and practice to grow. And with time, although you may look like a bud today, with time, you eventually look like a rose. I just love that. This is Story Time with Jonathan. Hope you have a great night. I'll see you in the next story.